In the year 1997, the future is in chaos and turmoil. Mankind is on the brink of extinction. Brave survivors band together and build a time displacement apparatus to receive a signal from a parallel future. This transmission is the Vundacast.
So how did you get into filmmaking?
So I'm thinking if I retrace everything all the way back to when I was a child. I watched the Percy Jackson movie with my aunt, and I was a huge Percy Jackson fan in middle school. I read all the books. I loved all the books. We watched the movie and I was like, wow, that was terrible. I could make a better movie than that. And then I kind of forgot about that for the next however many years until I started getting really into YouTube. What I would consider to be I don't know, classic original YouTube before I don't know. It's a lot different now than when I was growing up on it, but classic vloggers like Dan and Phil and Tyler Oakley, that entire sphere of content creators. I was that's actually really interesting. And watching I guess classic let's play gamers like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. And I was thinking about getting into that realm, and so my parents gifted me the Handycam that we ended up shooting Anniversary 6 on for a birthday that I had. So I was messing around with it, doing these terrible awkward vlogs. And then I was like, oh, I can make films with this. So I had been directionless, maybe I was gonna be a writer, maybe I was gonna be some other kind of visual artist, and then I was like, oh, let me just combine both of these and write and shoot my stuff. So that's what I did when I got to undergrad, was really start focusing in on filmmaking, and I loved it. So that's what I've been tooling away at for the past 7 years now.
That's super dope. Whoa. Is there what are your thoughts on the new Percy Jackson show? I must know, as a nerd. What do you think of the new show?
I haven't seen it yet. I don't have Disney Plus. I need to find other ways that I can see it potentially. But yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I've heard that it's at least better than the original movies. But I've also heard some mixed reviews about the end of the first season. So I don't know. I've tried to avoid as many spoilers as I can. I will watch it at some point, but yeah, I haven't. The movies scarred me, so I haven't bothered trying to watch anything else yet.
I think in another 15 years, you're gonna be watching the movies for comfort, even though you hate them. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, this takes me back to that moment. That's what happens. Even the movies we despise, we end up enjoying eventually.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch, because I really enjoy terrible movies. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I should go back and watch it again. It was just so personal. I was like, you had such great material right there in front of you. How could you butcher this so bad? I was that was all I talked about for a year. To all my friends was this sucked so bad.
So should Percy Jackson be a movie or should it be a TV show? What is your opinion? You think it should just be a movie? It could be a movie.
I feel like it could work as a movie, but like so the issue with that first film was that they tried to like pack the content of a bunch of books into the one movie. So like there's all the baggage surrounding like Harry Potter now too. But the thing that they did that was like really smart was like, okay, each movie is like just that one book. Um so I think if it was like that kind of approach with Percy Jackson, then it would like make more sense. Um a TV show I feel like also is great where it's like okay you can like each episode is like a chapter or whatever or like a couple of chapters, which I think is like the approach that they did for the most recent show that's out now. Yeah. So it's either you need to like commit to like not getting ahead of yourself in the movies or just like spread it out over like a season of a TV show.
Yeah,
It just depends.
I love a TV show, but oftentimes I'm like, why am I sitting in this story for 8 hours? This could have been a great 2 hour movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I feel like if you have a 2 hour movie or even an hour and a half, you can get everything you want, and it's a more transformative experience because you can just sit through it all at once. Like, I don't know. Anniversary 6 is a really subversive look at a relationship um played by the wonderful Alex Rubinick and Tom Perry as Christian and Mark. Um what is there what made you want to show this type of relationship and capture it on film?
Yeah, so initially the idea that I had for Anniversary 6 was much bigger. Because I had thought to myself like that last semester, I was like, okay, what's like the last film that I want to make here at Emerson? And I was like, okay, I really love found footage. I want to like challenge myself to make like a found footage like kind of like improv type film because it's a really different experience directing that kind of film versus like your traditional like I guess like third person like observer kind of film. So the idea that I had initially come up with was like, okay, found footage means that you need to have like a reason that you're filming. A lot of people film like events and stuff that are like happening at home. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be set at a birthday party, and it's gonna be the birthday party of Mark, and then his ex Christian is gonna show up uninvited, and that's gonna cause some drama. And then it turns out that Christian is gonna be possessed by a demon, and like the party's gonna go to shit. Um, and I was explaining that idea to like my advanced directing professor, and she was like, okay, there's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to do this in like 2 weeks, like whatever like time span that we had initially set out. Because she was like, you're dealing with all the extras at the party and you've got like special effects and stuff going on here. She was like, that's too much, cut it down. So I was like, okay. So I thought instead, okay, let me do the shorter version of that. And I was like, okay, how did we get here? Which I feel like is a question that is asked a lot when you're in a relationship that's deteriorating. Like how did we get to the point of this like relationship crumbling so badly? So that was like the thread that I was running with while like writing the treatment for Anniversary 6 and thinking about like, okay, what's the backstory behind these characters and like how did they get to this point, like what personality traits led them to this like fallout now that we're seeing unfolding in the aquarium. So I don't know, it's a lot of like personal like stuff from like previous like failed relationships that I'm in and like collaborating with like the actors to really like bring in the idea of like, okay, how does a relationship like fall apart so quickly over the span of like an afternoon, after it's already been deteriorating for years at this point.
Whoa, that's heavy. What I also gleaned from that was you had less than 2 weeks of pre-production to get this together?
Uh, kind of, yeah. So the pre-production really was like it was split across two different classes. Where like I was in I was in a writing class that was specifically for like writing like horror. So that I wrote the treatment in that class, and then immediately turned around and like most of the time in the directing class went into like directing exercises and like the whole like casting process. But yeah, like the actual pre-pro for this film, I would say probably averaged out to like 2 weeks. So we were in and out of it like super super fast.
That's super like that's very inspiring to be able to just like crank out an idea and like get it shot before you even have a chance to like second guess yourself or, overthink it or, make it too elaborate or something like that. So,
For sure, yeah.
kudos. So how many days of shooting were there?
In total, two. There was the half day that we had at the aquarium, which started around like noon, I want to say. We shot at the aquarium for like 2 or 3 hours, give or take. And then went back to my apartment and filmed the sequence at the beginning where like Mark and Christian are like talking about going to the aquarium. So all in all, I think it was like 4-ish hours on like that one day, and then Alex and I got together again like later the next week, after he had like gotten over a cold that he had like while we were filming like the aquarium sequence, and shot the basement sequence for like another like 2 hours or so. So not a lot of shooting time went into it at all.
So all the stuff outside the aquarium and inside the aquarium is like 3 hours.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, yeah, give or take.
Wow, that's awesome. I would figure you'd spend like, whole day inside and like, a whole day outside because the performances were so good and the sound must have been so tricky to find like the right balance in the public space.
Yeah, I was worried about the sound quality. But like the little handy cam that I have is actually like pretty robust, I guess. Like it works well in low light. And like I had done a couple of like sound tests just like um not in like a crowded like public space, but like where we were in the aquarium, but like in like my room in my apartment and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna trust it and we'll see what ends up happening. And worst case scenario, I'll just call it mumblecore. But yeah, it ended up working out pretty well because the aquarium was relatively busy like that day that we went. So it worked out. It worked out
No,
better
but
than I had anticipated that it would.
I think the audio is you couldn't ask for it to be better. Like it gives it this real feel of authenticity. You hear, all these snippets of like this random conversation. You're getting like free audio production value, just like I am with my dogs right now. Oh my God. Um, so how long did it? One second. All right, now I have to edit this a little more. Okay. So how long did it take to edit everything together? Was it also a 2 week minimized window?
uh that I think I was able to take a little bit more time with it. Because I'm trying to remember the timeline. The because it was happening like a while I was also in the process of like finishing everything for like my thesis film that I had shot like the previous semester. So I'm like trying to like think back to everything, and it's all just like a blur because graduation time was so crazy. But yeah, I think it was like I had a week for like a rough cut. Or no, I had a week for like just slapping together like an assembly of like the footage that we had shot. And then it was like a week for a rough cut, and then it was like another like week or two for like the final cut. Um at least for the class. So I think that was like give or take 4 weeks of editing in like the classroom setting. And then once I had like more free time on my hands, I was able to like go back and just like keep tinkering with it. I think I tinkered with it until like June of this year, just like trying to get the sort of like glitchy like crossfades between the scenes looking the way that I wanted it to. So yeah, so that took a little bit longer.
Badass.
Yeah.
Badass. So I'm gonna get into a couple spoilery questions now.
So we're using Anniversary 6 kind of as like a proof of concept for like, okay, here's some of the characters, here's like the tone that we're going for here. Curious as to like what your creative process was like.
Hey, Vunda. Hey, Vunda.
Vundacast? Give it
Yeah.
up for Vundacast, man. What an adorable name.
You're listening to the Vundacast.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, Green Ranger. You're listening to Vundacast.
You can find it at Vundacast, and I know they love Effie.
I'd like to close this out by urging everyone to go over to vundablog.com, and you'll see on all of our recent podcasts, and once I post this up there, there will be a link to D-Rock's Patreon account for ad infinitum.
Oh, why'd you start
So that
linking
you
my
can-
Patreon exactly when I stopped updating?
Oh no! Never mind!
You can also
No, I'm gonna update it soon. I am.
you
Because
can
Halloween-a-thon's almost over. I've been busy with Halloween-a-thon, so.
You
Sorry,
can
everybody.
also support the Ringing Rocks roller rink and their GoFundMe to improve their local facility. You can check us out at Vundacast on TikTok and on Twitter. And thank you for joining us on YouTube.
Subscribe to the Vundacast.